Hey guys, welcome back to Building a Farm with me. Snaggle is me obviously, and I am trying to build a farm. Well, I am building a farm. Well, the farm is building. It's a process. But anyways, since we are here and it is a story about the potato shortage, there is a potato shortage in this country apparently, and I will add my 2 cents. Thank you very much for allowing me. So let's do this. Okay, maybe you would not understand the severity of this question when I'm linking it to potatoes. Guys, do you understand or do you know how valuable a potato is in the world? If you go to the internet and check the most valuable crops in the world, you'll find witty a potato is number 5 on that list. So it's basically in the top 5 of the list. But 3 to 4 years ago, potatoes was number 1. It has been surpassed by wheat. Wheat is number 1. 2 is I think it's maize, if I'm not mistaken. There's also rice in the list. 4 being soya beans, and also, well, number 5 is obviously the potato. Well, back then, 3 years ago, potato was number 1. So now, as you can see how valuable the crop is.
And now we are seeing there is a potato shortage in this country.
How do you feel about that? Because this is where I add my 2 cents of the portion or the mystery behind this whole potato situation thing. So looking at this list, I really find it quite odd. The list to me does not make sense. But with the socio-economic status and the way things have evolved right now, you would literally find an African individual opting to eat sushi rather than eating a stew that contains potatoes or anything that contains potatoes, because probably of food preferences, change in diet, and also nutritional shifts. Yeah, but we could say with the socio-economic or the social status of a person, even the media has played a role in influencing what we eat on a daily, right? So obviously it kind of makes sense with why it has shifted to number 5. But in all true essence, are those statistics feasible? Are they really practical when they're placing the potato as a number 5? Because if I look at all those other crops, when I'm comparing it to the potato, I check, number 1, are all these crops easy to grow compared to a potato? I mean, when you grow a potato, you literally can grow it in any type of region or any type of area. It is growable. Number 2, easy access. We have easy access to potatoes compared to the other crops that were mentioned in the list. It's easy to prepare a potato compared to the other groups. I mean, when I'm talking about easy to prepare, these other crops you need professional skills in order to process the crop into an edible finished product. It is also affordable. Potatoes are affordable, very much affordable, and they are versatile. When I'm talking about the versatility of the crop, you can make potato salads, you can potato roast, you can make stews with potatoes, chips, fried chips. Yes, we do them with potatoes. I mean, the list is endless when it comes to potatoes. You boil them, you do mash. They are so versatile. You can achieve, proper meals with the basic cooking skills. And the last one, with potatoes, it is the one crop that I know ensures lifetime food security. When you eat it in Tagababa, you know with your tummy or your belly would be full throughout the day if you eat a potato. When you compare with other crops, please man, potato is should be at the top of the list. That's my personal opinion. I mean, I find with the potato is a major food source. It provides food security for the poor population. Therefore, the potatoes are an optimal survival crop. Optimal survival crop. They should be number 1, which it makes sense. I don't even know why the list changed. Maybe it's because the Western culture dominates the internet. But in all true essence, when you compare potato to all those other food crops, number 1. So when it blew out, so it's okay, there's a potato shortage in the entire world. You know, I have my checklist, guys, whenever there's a food crisis. So I went to the stores. I went with using this rule called the rule of supply and demand. I go to the store, that's the first thing I did. I first check the price of the potatoes. I find that the pricing it's barely fair. I mean, it hasn't changed, it hasn't increased. I check the stock availability. When it comes to stock availability, I'm checking the quantity, I'm checking the variety of potatoes that you'll find. Potatoes are everywhere. But then I also went to the media. The media. When I went to the media, I was like, no ways, there can't be potato shortage. Why? Because there's no noise. South Africa and noise are like this. So if there is no noise, then there's no problem. There's no problem. That's what I assumed at first, though. Get me? So, and then I was like, okay, fine. Let me go to the check the farmers, right? The ones that produce. Talk about the terms of the weather affecting the crops, because with weather it gets tricky, right? You could have rainy weather like we've been having rainy weather, and will definitely affect the crops or the yields of your crops. They will drop like hotcakes. This weather has been going on since 2018 due to global warming. It's been raining, it's been frosting. With the social media thingy and all my algorithm I put together, I was like, no ways. This is not how we will be acting if South Africa was experiencing a shortage of potatoes. Because when I try to gather my experiences living in this country, I know Uguti, whenever there's gonna be a food crisis, prices will hike, baba. I remember 2019, there was shortage of potatoes. At that time, 2019, you will get a 10 kg bag worth of 120. That was how it was bad. The prices were doubling up. That was a crisis. But when I compare it to 2023 or 2022, it wasn't the same. It's different. Everything is smooth. Then where is this potato shortage coming from? Guys, last year, South Africa alone, we produced 2.6 million tons worth of potatoes. I'm talking about the formal markets, right? The formal markets, because those are the guys that they assume they have market grade potatoes. Now the question is there a potato shortage in the world? Yes, there is a potato shortage in the world. Is there a potato shortage in South Africa? There is no potato shortage in South Africa. Now this is the difference. This is how it gets interesting. In South Africa, we have 7 variants of potatoes, and we gladly grow those 7 variants of potatoes in South Africa. So those 7 variants of potatoes, they are in the 2.6 million tons that was grown, right? So now this is where it gets tricky. With those 7 variants, there is this one variant, and it's called the Rosette, and it's also Fleury, I think. But the Rosette and Fleury is the one potato variant, which is causing all the havoc in the world. Why? Because it is that one variant which is very useful for what? For making potato chips. So the characteristics of that Rosette is that it has a dry texture, it's got more starchy, it's longer in length, so they're easier to make in potato chips. Right, so now this is where it gets tricky, right? That potato alone is used by the fast food industry. When I'm talking about the fast food industry, I am talking about industries like your McDonald's, your Steers, KFC chips, Lay's, Simba chips, Willards. You know those global giant companies that make all the food, you know, those unhealthy snacks. Yes, they need that potatoes. The fast food industry is a $33 billion US market. It is the biggest buyer of potatoes in the world. A good 58% of potatoes that are produced in the world are used by the fast food industry to make what? Potato chips. If those corporate companies do not get to receive their share of potatoes, then it means they can't make potato crisps or fried potato chips. If they don't get to make those potato chips, they don't get to generate big profits. If they don't get to generate big profits, then what happens? People lose jobs. Then they get to retrench people. If they retrench people, obviously the economy of the world or that country or for that corporate will go down, obviously. And if it goes down, then that means the starting of psychological mind games that affect human well-being, and the list is endless. It goes on and on and on. You see the pattern. Do you get the pattern? Because these corporates, obviously, they are not based. They are not originally from what? From South Africa. They are probably from America, United Kingdom, you know, the European countries. So if the European countries or the developed countries are shaking when it comes to a potato, then obviously the entire world will shake. Even the ones that are not affected, they will shake because they are shaking up there. Up there, they are shaking. So we must also what? Shake, even though we've got a surplus of potatoes. So what do we all get with this discussion right now that I'm telling you, besides the fact that potatoes are a money-making machine, that Rousset or Rousset variety is a money-making machine? What else are we getting?
If they're growing their own potatoes.
We grow potatoes every year, all year round, but we've been growing the wrong potatoes all along. So now the big question would be, Uwiti, how are these big corporates, right? How are they actually receiving or getting these potatoes? Because they are not necessarily an agricultural sector or an agricultural department. They're not farmers. They just run a fast food chain, right? It's that production line for them, but they're not entirely running the farm side of things. So what they do is they approach farmers. When they approach farmers, they approach an organization called Potatoes SA. If it's from South Africa, they will approach a Potatoes SA to see if there are any potential farmers who are actually will be able to supply their ever demanding production line or fast food chain, who'll be able to supply for them. So they check with, does that farmer has a good amount of land? Is the farmer has a previous experience of growing potatoes? Is the farmer what else? I think they also check, is the farmer actually producing each and every season? So when they actually find those people, those farmers, they enter them into a program. It trains the farmers. So when you enter into these programs, it could be a Simba program, it could be a Lays program, it could be a McCain program, it could be whatever program. But when you enter into those programs, they provide you with workshop and training so as to improve your production skills or growing skills. They also give you any seed injection, which is seed funding. They also give you a good reputation. I mean, it's a good status growing for a big corporate company. Like these adverts where potatoes want to be part of a brand, but they also support in your business. There are certain benefits that farmers actually benefit from this corporation in order to supply in for them, right? In exchange, that farmer must be able to give good quality potatoes in large quantities or in the quantities that is required, and also the farmer must sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. I mean, and you also receive a contract to supply. It's a long-term contract or a lifetime contract to supply for that big corporation. So it's a win-win for both the parties in all true essence. Because what happens is that farmers grow and supply for those big corporates in exchange, for long-term contracts and monetary support, which is what people obviously don't know. But people in general, they have little knowledge with it. There are actually opportunities such that you can actually grow for these big corporates who actually want that potato variety, because the supply chain there is very fast. I mean, people eat potato chips each and every day. And we didn't even know about this, but now you know. But Jay, you know, so what I'm saying is that people have been growing the wrong potatoes, because here in South Africa, I know my grandparents, I don't have them anymore, but grandparents that I know, that I have, that I say that my grandparents, they grow potatoes. I know friends that grow potatoes. I know a bunch of people that grow potatoes. Even my own father's growing potatoes. Potatoes are everywhere, but we're just not growing the right potato which is, you know, not market graded. You know, you need to grow the right variety in large quantities so you can be able to sell it to, you know, the right people that actually want it. You need to get a market for that. And it's easy to get a market for potatoes if you grow for the right people. You can get rich. But, you know, yeah, that's my 2 cents. I've heard comments from the citizens of that country on social media saying they no longer can't order a large French fries or extra large packet of French fries, because they really have run out of that variant. If there is anyone, you know, who is interested in growing this variety, you might as well just enter the market, because right now you are needed. You are needed in this industry. If you have land and you can grow and you're willing to learn, then provide. You know, provide us, please. You know. So that's it from me, Bafethu Nyathanda.